Yes, we are back together again, and I hope you are feeling good today. We are outside. It's so hot. It's boiling, in fact. Here we go again. Yes, we are back together, live from the birthplace of the English language. And yes, you can see, there it is. It is a glorious summer day. It is wonderful. I'm feeling rather happy, even though I am suffering slightly from hay fever, but I will not let that put me off. I am going to continue. I am going to keep going forward with today's live stream, no matter how many times I sneeze. Here we go then. Yes, it is English Addict. For those who don't know what this is, well, I will explain in a few moments from now. I am outside, and normally what happens when I'm outside, there are quite often technical things that I have to sort out. So if I appear distracted, there is a reason. I'm twiddling, I'm fiddling with my knobs. I hope you don't mind. Hi everybody. This is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you feeling happy? Happy, happy, happy. This is the place where everyone is welcome to smile, to have a little bit of fun without being offended or outraged. No one will try to cancel you here, so don't worry about it. Yes, we are back together again. My name is Duncan. I talk about the English language. You might even say that I am an English addict. You see, like the writing on the screen in front of you now. 7 minutes past 2 o'clock. It is live, and we are coming to you live from my garden today. This is the hottest day of the year so far here in England. Around 30 degrees is the temperature at the moment. I'm under my little gazebo, trying my best to stay cool, but unfortunately it isn't cool. It's rather hot. So I'm already regretting this. Not just that, but also there are, once more, those annoying flies are crawling up into my shorts, and they are doing all sorts of things. I think they are having a little party in there, to be honest. I can feel them doing something anyway. So that's the introduction out of the way. I hope you're feeling good. Yes, we have the live chat as well. Oh, by the way, for those who haven't seen them yet, there are some new lessons on my YouTube channel as well during the week. So next week there will be a new lesson posted on Wednesday, and I hope you can catch that as well. Oh, by the way, it is a big day tomorrow here in England, because tomorrow, July the 19th, is tomorrow, and it's a special day because for us, apparently here in England, it is Freedom Day. That means that many of the lockdown procedures, many of the rules that we have been forced to observe and follow over the past year, in fact, it's nearly 1.5 years. Can you believe it? 1.5 years we've been in this situation. It seems incredible. But here in England, they are going to relax most of the rules from tomorrow. However, already there seems to be some problems, because some people seem to think that we should not relax the rules. We should continue as they are, because we are not out of the woods. Things have not resolved themselves. In fact, some people seem to think we are a very long way from that. So tomorrow here in England, we are having our Freedom Day. That's what they're calling it anyway. So I thought tomorrow, if I can, I'm not sure. This is only 50% decided, so I'm not sure if this will happen tomorrow, but I'm hoping tomorrow I will be live in Much Wenlock. in the town square tomorrow. I hope so. I might not be, so it just depends on what the situation is. And the reason why I say that is because some people are saying that they will not allow you into their shops or businesses if you don't have a mask. But the government here have said you don't have to wear a mask anymore from tomorrow. So tomorrow is what we are calling Freedom Day, although already people are arguing, they are debating on whether or not it is too early to relax the lockdown rules. So that is happening from tomorrow, and hopefully I will be with you in the town square of Much Wenlock tomorrow afternoon. I hope so. I'm not sure yet. I haven't decided completely. We will have to see what happens. I will have to weigh up. Weigh up. If you weigh up something, it means you are still trying to work out that particular thing. You are weighing up the situation. I'm not sure if I will be there or not. I am trying to weigh up the situation, and then I will be able to decide what to do. So that hopefully will be happening tomorrow. Of course, we have made it all the way to the end of another week, and also the end of another weekend, almost. Yes, it is Sunday. Yes, it is Sunday, and I'm so happy to be with you once more here on YouTube. And I hope you're feeling good wherever you are in the world today. We have the live chat as well. Oh, nice to see so many people already joining in on today's live chat. We are talking about persuasion. Persuasion, an interesting word. If you are a person who has the ability to persuade another person, maybe you persuade them to change their mind about something or to make a decision, you persuade them, you do something to change their mind. A person who is able to persuade other people to do things can be described as persuasive. So what about you? I suppose today's interesting question might be, are you a persuasive person? Are you able to persuade people to do things? Can you persuade someone to do something? Maybe they want to go somewhere, or maybe they don't want to go somewhere, and perhaps you do. So to persuade someone is often seen as active. To persuade is an active thing. You are doing it. It is the thing you are doing. You are trying to persuade someone. However, in the passive sense, you might be persuaded to do something. So the person who is persuading you is the person who is trying to change your mind, or maybe to try and change your opinion of something. And the person who is being persuaded is the receiving person. They are the person who is trying to be persuaded. So persuade is active. To be persuaded is passive. You are on the receiving end of that thing. So what about you? Are you good at persuading people? Some people, and I've noticed this, especially in business, you quite often find people who are very good at selling. A person who is in sales, if they are very good at their job, you often find that they are very persuasive. They are very good at changing someone's mind. Maybe they are very good at selling things. So maybe you go to someone's house, perhaps you knock on their door and you are trying to sell something. And the person opens the door, and now you have to try and persuade that person to buy the thing that you are selling. So good salespeople do often appear to be very good at persuading. They are persuasive. So if you are good at selling, I think it would be fair to say that you are also very good at persuading. You are a very persuasive person. However, of course, we might also talk about people who are easily persuaded. So maybe someone is asking you to do something. Maybe someone is trying to sell an item to you. What about you? Are you easy to persuade? If you have one thought in your mind, is it possible for someone to change that opinion? So we might think of persuading or persuasion as being quite a simple thing, but in fact, in the real world, it is quite a skill. It is a very useful skill to have. You might say that politicians, oh, Mr. Duncan, politicians, oh, you might say that politicians can be very persuasive. They are often very good at using words. They are very good at speaking. And quite often they are very good at changing other people's opinions, the things that people think. They are very good at changing someone's mind. So what about you? Are you very persuasive? Think about that question, and I will ask it again in a few moments. We also have Mr. Steve here today. He is here feeling very hot, and this week has been very special for Mr. Steve. He will explain all about that a little bit later on. Also some sad news as well. Something a little sad happened here. I will tell you about that later on as well. Also, by the way, last week, it was the 5th anniversary, 5 years. Can you believe it? 5 years since I did my first ever live stream. The first time I ever went live. And there you can see it there now on the screen. That is a short clip of my first ever live stream that I did on the 15th of July 2016, and that is it. Those are my first few moments of my first ever live stream. And a lot of people say, Mr. Duncan, we like it when you were sitting down in your studio. We used to like that. We used to think you looked really relaxed. The only problem is, if you sit down for too long, then quite often your legs will begin to hurt. So I don't like sitting down. For those who know me well, you will know that I don't like sitting down. I really don't. I don't like sitting down for too long. So if I had a choice between sitting in a chair and standing, I would always want to stand. So there it is, my first ever live stream that I did. And it was the 5th anniversary last week, last Wednesday, I think it was, yes. Last Wednesday was the 5th anniversary of my first ever YouTube live stream. I can't believe that it's been 5 years. It's gone very, very quickly, I have to say. So 5 years of live, and don't forget also in October we have the 15th anniversary of this on YouTube. My whole channel, the birth of my channel happened almost 15 years ago. I can't believe it. And can you believe also I have never received my award from YouTube. Never. No. I haven't got my silver button. I haven't got my gold button from YouTube. I don't know why. It's almost as if YouTube doesn't like me. I wonder why that could be. Oh, yes, the live chat is now live and running. Oh, very interesting. Once again, with his fast finger. Of course, the Olympic Games start next week, and I am thinking maybe clicking your mouse with your finger should be an Olympic sport. I think so. If they can have skateboarding, I'm sure they can have clicking your mouse with your finger. Yes, of course, it is the gold medal winner, Vitas. You are first once again. Yeah. Oh, Vitas. One day, I'm sure one day, Vitas is going to share his secret. We will all find out the secret, how he is able to click that mouse so quickly, very fast. Your finger is very fast. Did you see the football match last week? I'm not saying anything. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything else. Because I'm sure you are thinking the same thing as I am, which is, oh, Mr. Duncan, please don't talk about that. We don't want to talk about the football match last week, really. That's all they have been talking about for the whole week. So, no, I won't be mentioning the football match, but I did watch it, by the way. Mr. Steve said he was going to watch it, but also I joined him as well, and we watched it together. So I thought it was okay. I'm not a big fan of football. I don't really follow football as such. But yes, I enjoyed it. And if I was honest, I thought Italy played very well. I thought they were quite a good team. Even though now and again they were doing some rather dirty tackles. That's all I'm saying. But yes, I suppose a lot of people said that Italy were the best team, and as we often say in English, the best team always wins. Well, for most of the time anyway. So the live chat is now up and running. Yes, we have a lot of people already talking and chatting. Can I say hello to... Oh, hello, Adele. Adele says, I do not have any patience to persuade anyone. Some people have it, you see. So when we think of a person's character, we often think of the way their character is either strong or weak. We often think of a person with a strong character is a person who is very good at talking or very good at expressing their feelings. But also you might say that a person who has a strong character might also be very good at persuading people as well, persuading people to do something differently, persuade them to change their opinion. As I mentioned earlier, we often think of politicians. There is a fly chewing on my leg, and I don't like it at all. Yes, if you haven't already realised, I'm outside in the garden. It is very hot. I don't know what the weather is doing where you are, but it is really hot today. 30 degrees right now in the garden here in England. Apparently this is going to be the hottest day of the year in England. Hello, can I say hello to... Oh, Beatrice is here. Hello, Beatrice. Nice to see you here as well. And we also have Rosa, Salman. Hello, Salman. Hello also to Halim Abdo. I do recognise your name. I think I've seen you here before. Have you been here before? I think so. We also have Victoria Willian. Hello, Willian. Nice to see you back as well. Grace Chin. Hello, Grace. Nice to see you here also. Florence. Also Connell. Hello Connell, nice to see you back also. And also we have Christina. Hello Christina, nice to see you. I like your name, Christina. It sounds like maybe a member of the royal family in another country. Christina. Princess Christina. I think that has a very nice ring, to be honest. Issam, hello Issam Hamed, who is watching in Sudan. Hello Sudan, nice to see you here. Is it hot there? I have a feeling it might be hot in Sudan, but I also have a feeling that here in England it might be as hot as Sudan. I think so. Hello also Max Poe. Hello Sarah Peltier. Hello to you Sarah, nice to see you and welcome. Is it your first time? If it is, please tell me. Please say, Mr. Duncan, it is my first time on the live chat. Hello also to Saturino. It's very nice. What I love about doing this, I will be honest with you, what I love about doing this is everyone is so friendly towards each other. Everyone is so friendly to each other. Very nice. Oh, hello, Luis Mendez. Luis is here as well. Nice to see you back on the live chat. Andrew is here. Andrew Maloychikov. I always worry that I mispronounce your name. I hope I pronounce it correctly. You can always correct me, you see, like last week. See, now last week, Mr. Steve and myself, we both had difficulty pronouncing someone's name. So this week I will try to pronounce everyone's name correctly. I will try my best. Hello, Rita. Are you good at selling? Are you a person who can persuade someone to buy something? Oh, Edith Gallet says, I was very good at selling. I was an account manager in a fashion magazine. So you were a very good salesperson. I think so. Now, I remember many years ago, you might not know this, but it is a little bit of information about my past. Many, many years ago, when I was starting out on my journey in the world of work, I used to work in sales. You might not know that. And I used to enjoy it so much. I used to love sales. Because when you are selling something, it is a little bit like performing. And I used to love it so much. I used to love sales, selling, and then later I would train people how to sell as well. So I really enjoyed all of that. I thought it was good fun. Good fun. It might be one of the reasons why I enjoy doing this, you see. Because I suppose teaching is a little bit like performing. So when you are teaching people, it is a little bit like putting on a performance. I think so. And you certainly have to enjoy it, or else there's no point doing it. Is there really? You have to enjoy what you do, whatever it is. Whatever it is. Hello to Ida. Hello, Ida. Nice to see you as well. Sergio is here. Sergio says, what lovely recollections, Mr. Duncan, of your young days before your hemorrhoids. What? That's not me. I don't... How dare you? I wish I had my Greta Thunberg here. Wait there. Let me find it. Where is it? I can't see my screen because it's too bright. I'm trying to see my screen, but normally I have a lovely... Oh, come on. Where is it? I can't find it. How annoying. It's disappeared. I wanted to have my Greta Thunberg moment, you see, but I can't. I'm sure it's here somewhere. No, it's not. Where has it gone? Who has stolen my Greta Thunberg? I can't find... Oh, there it is. I found it. I found it, everyone. Sergio, how could you suggest that I have hemorrhoids?
How dare you?
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Greta. In a few moments we have Mr. Steve here. We also have the sentence game. We are talking about being persuasive. And also I will be sharing a little bit of sad news from my garden. Also, we will be taking a look at something rather nice as well from my garden. All of that coming up a little bit later on, but now we'll have a break whilst Mr. Steve gets himself all lovely and comfortable. Yes, it is an excerpt from Full English number 30. And then we will be back and Mr. Steve will be here as well. Don't go away. It's funny how some English phrases have more than one use. Here is a good example of this occurrence. The phrase take off can be used in many ways. You can take off something, as in removing it. To peel off something or to remove one thing from another is to take off. You can take off the paint from an object, such as a door or wall. You can take off your clothes. To remove something is to take off. To mimic or impersonate someone is to take off. To copy the mannerisms of a person, such as their movements and voice, is to take off. His takeoff of Elvis Presley was really convincing. To delete something from a list, you will need to take off that item. I had to take off the names of the absent students. To lift off from the ground in an aircraft is to take off. You take off in an aeroplane. The plane is ready to leave the ground. Can you please tell the passengers to prepare for takeoff? There is also take down, which describes the action of making a written record of something. I will need to take down your name and address. Take down can also mean dismantle. To slowly break something apart with care is to take down something. We will have to take down the tent tomorrow when the wind is not so strong. To destroy a person's reputation with criticism can be described as a takedown. You defeat someone by criticizing them. A website that is removed from the internet is a takedown. The owners of the website were given a takedown notice by the government. Even the word take can be used in many ways. To steal something is take. The way you view something is take. What is your take on the situation in Syria? To film a sequence that has been prepared in advance is a take. You might have to do many takes of something before you get it right. Let's go again with another take. I hope we get it right this time. To transport something from one place to another is also take. You can take a person to the airport in your car. You can take some clothes out of the wardrobe. To take in is to give a home to someone. You might take in a homeless person during the winter months. To relax or consider something for a while or to process something is to take time. It will take time for you to recover from your injuries. There are so many uses of the word take. It's true. You can take my word for it. It's time now to take a look at another buzzword. A buzzword is a phrase or sentence that is popular during a certain period of time, or is commonly used in general. Today's buzzword is controversy or controversy. The word controversy is a noun which means a row in response or a negative reaction to something. A strong reaction to something such as someone's personal opinion or a provocative action. His words caused controversy throughout the world. You can create controversy by saying something inflammatory or provocative. The words used cause anger and outrage. To speak in a way that offends people. A controversy usually involves people with opposing views. One group agrees or holds the same opinion, whilst the other group disagrees, thus creating controversy. The occurrence of the controversy is described as controversial, a controversial plan, a controversial idea, a controversial film, a controversial speech. Controversial is the adjective form of controversy. The President has announced controversial reforms to the healthcare service. The controversial thing creates controversy. It is controversial because one group objects while another accepts. A person who causes controversy is controversial. He or she is a controversial character. The word controversy comes from the Latin word for turn around, which refers to an opposing view or the actual disagreement. Synonyms of controversy include altercation, disagreement, dispute, opposition, quarrel, wrangle. The overall disagreement over something in society can be described as controversy. The subject in question is controversial. Life is full of surprises. You never really know what is round the corner. Life is unpredictable, and quite often you can find yourself being caught on the hop. I love that expression. To get caught on the hop means to be caught unawares and unprepared. If you are distracted by something you are doing, then it is possible to suddenly be caught on the hop. You are caught off guard and forced into a difficult situation by being unprepared. This phrase is often used in British English. We can also say that a person who is busy doing something is on the hop. They are bustling. They are active. They are actively doing something. They are on the hop. Another great phrase for being unprepared is caught with your pants down. A person who has been put in a difficult position by being unprepared for something has been caught with their pants down. The regional manager's visit caught us all with our pants down. The inquiry caught many politicians with their pants down. To be caught on the hop. To be caught with your pants down. You were not ready for what happened. For most of us, it's just another day in this crazy thing we call life. And there it was, one of my many full English lessons on my YouTube channel. And don't forget, every week there is a new English lesson being posted on my YouTube channel as well. Also, we are here live every Sunday, just like we are right now. Here he is.
Hello everyone. Hello Mr. Duncan.
He is back, everyone, in the garden. It's hot. It's sticky.
Ooh.
There is a well-known song by Noel Coward all about how mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun. And we are out in the sun at the moment. It is the hottest day of the year so far, apparently. 31 degrees in some places. I think it's about 30 here. So to put that into some sort of perspective, it's about as warm here as it is in, say, Malaysia.
And it feels just as humid because we've been having a lot of rain over the last few weeks. And now we've had the sun. All that water is evaporating and causing humid conditions. It's very hot and sticky, particularly as Mr. Duncan has set up a kind of tent
Yes.
here. So it feels like I'm inside a tent with the sun shining down. So it's adding, I think, inside your tent area here, Mr. Duncan, rather than 30 degrees, it's nearer sort of 36.
I think, well, it's hot.
40.
It's a hot day. I don't think there's any escaping
Well,
the heat.
We could be indoors in the shade.
Yes, that would be very nice. But then we would be in my studio with all of the hot studio lights.
True.
You see?
What we
can't-
need, Mr. Duncan, is a fan.
Yes.
And I don't mean the kind of fan that watches us every week. Did you see what I did there, Mr. Duncan?
That was hilarious.
Play on words, a fan.
Can I just... I've got an important message to
I'm going
pass.
to explain that, but never mind.
Hello to Math and Physics, who says, can you please say happy birthday to my niece, Artham? Artham. He would. Do you know your niece would be a girl? So niece is a girl, nephew is a boy. So maybe you mean a boy. If it is a boy, it's nephew. If it is a girl, it is niece. So hello anyway, and a happy birthday to Arham. And
Well.
thank you also to Maths and Physics.
We need to say happy birthday for Tuesday
Yeah?
to Michael Victorino,
Hello.
whose birthday is on the 20th,
That's incredible.
which I think it's the 18th today. So if I've got that right, it's your birthday on Tuesday. So happy birthday to you as well, Michael.
Wow.
And we've got new people watching today. I was going to explain the difference between fan and fan.
Yes, so there are two different types of fan.
Yes.
There is the noun, which is the item, which we often use for keeping cool.
A fan, to blow cold air over us.
Yes. Or also, fan, also a noun, means a person who is very fond or enjoys a certain type of thing, or maybe a certain type of person who performs, maybe a certain type of music band. Perhaps you are into K-pop. Oh.
You're always talking about K-pop, Mr. Duncan.
Well-
would you say that some of you out there watching are fans of Mr. Duncan?
Are you a fan? And I don't mean only fans, because we're not on there. Can I just say right now that neither Mr. Steve or myself, we are not on OnlyFans. That is a very different thing altogether.
What is that, Mr. Duncan? I've never heard of that.
I can't even talk about it.
Okay.
That's a-
Ada Antonio, if you're still here, Ada, if I've pronounced your name correctly, which I doubt, so apologies for that. Your first time on here today.
Oh.
Ada Antonio Ada, or Ida. So welcome. Welcome to Mr. Duncan's channel, and please check out all his nearly coming up to 1,000 videos. Did you say you have on there now?
I have around 1,000 videos,
Wasn't.
but that of course that's including the live streams that I've done over the past 5 years. Last week it was the anniversary of my first ever live stream. Would you like to see a little bit of it, Steve?
Go on.
So here I am looking nervous. There's no sound, so we can carry on talking, but there I am. There is a very nervous looking Mr. Duncan, that's me. 5 years ago.
5 years ago, you haven't aged a bit, Mr. Duncan.
I wish. I really wish.
And at that stage, you hadn't got your smiley face T-shirt.
No. Well, I had it, but I didn't wear it.
You weren't wearing it, which of course became a fixture later on. And I would like to say, if you haven't, you've probably... Oh yes, you've got your like tick, your like what would you say that was on your hat? A reminder to people to like anything that you like today in today's lesson. Please tick the like button. It really does help Mr. Duncan
Yes.
to go further and wider in the YouTube world.
Yes. Although
it's-
we are facing a strange time at the moment, because during the summer months on YouTube, many people stop watching. Not just me, but generally. Because when the nice weather comes, people don't sit in front of their screens. They go out and do things. So I do understand that. But if you are a fan, please give me a lovely like. Those likes do actually help. You might not realise it, but this is actually a very important thing. If you give me a nice big thumbs up today.
Well, Beatrice has said that it's Belarusia's birthday.
Oh, okay then.
Is that today?
Yes,
Belarusia?
I know it's sometime in July.
It is. It's today.
Belarusia?
Yes.
Is it really? Claudia. Or Claudia. Claudia. It is your birthday. Yes, it is. Today.
Happy birthday.
I suppose that deserves a round of applause.
It definitely does.
And to everyone celebrating their birthday today.
Good.
I'm getting very excited.
I know, birthdays all over the place. It's not yours yet, is it, Mr. Duncan?
It
next
is-
month.
it
next
is-
month.
Yeah, next month it is my birthday. Next month.
Well, I noticed that you were talking about persuasion or persuading.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
I only noticed that because I was looking at the live chat
Good.
and people were making. Oh, thank you, Sergio, who's clicked the like button 20 times.
Oh. Well, only once counts.
Well, I mean, despite Sergio was talking about hemorrhoids earlier, wasn't he?
He was suggesting that I have them, and can I just say I do not have hemorrhoids. Someone else does, but it's definitely not me. Anyway,
It comes with age. It
Yes.
comes with age, and obviously it takes one to know one,
that's
as
it.
they say. So I'm suggesting that Sergio knows all about hemorrhoids
Oh,
as well.
okay.
There are no real treatments, as I've discovered. Maybe surgery, but that doctors don't really want you to go down that route.
Why are you whispering, by the way?
Well, because I don't want the neighbours to know I've got.
Oh, I see.
Yes,
Don't worry
yeah.
about it.
It's just between us.
I'm going to shout it to everyone now. Hello, neighbours. Hemorrhoids.
Well, I mean, they can probably guess because I mean, most men. Well, I don't know about women as well, but
Well, women. I think women get hemorrhoids.
they do from pregnancy, I think.
Yeah.
But I think most people over a certain age probably have them. I don't know. I don't know the stats,
Yes. Okay.
short for statistics.
It's not the sort of thing you tend to keep in your mind. You know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to research all of the statistics of people who suffer from hemorrhoids.
That's it. Well,
Not normally the sort of thing you do.
so persuading, you were talking about persuading.
Yes,
Is that the theme for today?
it is. So,
Interesting.
two ways of defining that: persuade someone, which is the active thing. So you are trying to persuade someone, and of course you can be on the receiving end, and you are being persuaded.
Right.
So maybe, for example, maybe I want you to come with me to a party, but you don't want to go because you're tired and you've been
always
working in the
tired.
garden all day. And so he doesn't. So I have to try and persuade Mr. Steve to go to the party. I have to persuade him somehow. So I am the active person trying to get Mr. Steve to change his mind.
And do I? I thought we were going to do a role play.
I tell you something. I know one thing, Steve. You are very easily persuaded.
That is true. A role play, by the way, a role play. That's when two people act something out, pretend to do something. So if you were to try and, I mean, we're not going to a party. Mr. Duncan hasn't been invited to a party.
No.
No surprise there. But assuming that, so if it's a make-believe party and you are trying to persuade me or show others how you might persuade me, that would be a role play,
Yes.
wouldn't it? We would be pretending.
So yes, any situation where two people or more than two people are pretending to do something, they are acting out a situation that you might come across in everyday life. So that is role playing.
Is it the same as manipulate?
Yes.
Says now, Maori.
Yes. Let's
Let's not go down the pronunciation route.
let's not do that again.
Maori.
Mayora.
Oh no, there's Mayora and there's Maori.
Oh, okay. Let's not
different
do
people.
Let's
different
not
people.
Let's not do that again.
No.
It did take up a lot of time last
Ooh,
week.
I got a thumbs up there, so we must have done it right. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. I was about to say something then.
I know. What was it? Yes.
If you if you are persuading someone to do something, it could be described as manipulation, because you are trying to change that person in some way. So even if it's a small thing like what we just talked about. So I want to persuade Steve to come to the party. So even that, I suppose, in a certain way, could be described as manipulation. You are manipulating. You are trying to change something. So persuade, to varying degrees, I suppose it depends what you are trying to persuade the person to do.
Yes, I think when you use the word manipulation, which is a form of persuasion, I think normally you would associate that with somebody trying to persuade you to do something that you don't want to do.
Yes.
Or that could be detrimental or not beneficial to you.
Yes.
So if someone's trying to manipulate you, that's usually got a negative connotation to it. So
That's right.
they might be persuading you to try and move all your investments into some kind of risky company's shares.
Okay. You sound so sure of that.
Yes, because that would be, they were trying to manipulate you into doing that, because then they were going to sell all the shares and then you'd lose money or something like that. Or somebody might be manipulating you emotionally.
That happens.
In relationships.
Yes,
for
that's a good point.
example.
In relationships, abusive relationships, quite often there is a certain amount of manipulation. Maybe one person is using maybe threats or some sort of mental cruelty to another person in the relationship. So yes, you might go from persuasion to something far more serious, like manipulation. So it can happen also in relationships. You are right. Good one. We're not on about us, by the way.
Oh, no.
No.
But yes, sometimes, and of course, people discuss this, don't they? When people are in relationships, it's sometimes the lines get blurred. It's difficult to tell whether you're being persuaded or manipulated in a bad way, because you can't see what's bad and what's good anymore. You probably don't feel good about it, but people from the outside can look in and say, oh, I think that particular person's manipulating that other person in the relationship, and it's not good for them. Sales in the can I mention sales?
Well, I mentioned this briefly earlier. Yes.
Well, I'm in sales. I've mentioned that before. Lots of people do sales, and obviously the prime focus for a salesperson is to try and persuade the customer to purchase your products over a competitor's products. So, and from my point of view, I mean, you will get different salespeople selling different things, and I've always been lucky in that for me to sell something, I need to believe in the product that I'm selling. And I've been lucky in that the products and the companies that I've always worked for, I've believed in the products, and I know that if I'm trying to persuade somebody to buy that product, it is in fact better than the competitors. I can't imagine, it must be very difficult to try and sell something when you know that your product isn't as good as the competitors.
Yeah.
So, I mean, usually you have some positive point about your product. It's not normally all negative. And of course, in a way, you could be said to be manipulate, because if you know there's something that's not so good about your product, you might not mention that very much. You might just talk about the things that are good and not mention the things that aren't, or only mention them very briefly, so as to sort of, in a way, you are manipulating, in a way.
Well, all sales, I don't think there is any type of selling that doesn't involve some type of persuasion, or maybe in some cases manipulation. You are saying things, using words in a certain way. Quite often we will use scare tactics. You might use something in your sales technique that will make a person feel worried or afraid.
Ooh, yes.
So that is another thing, you see. So it is another way of persuading someone by using fear.
Scarcity is a tactic often used in sales, and we see this a lot on the television with shopping channels. They use scarcity as a means to make you feel as though you need to buy something because that product's going to sell out soon and you might miss out.
So if something is scarce, if a thing is scarce, it means it is in short supply. So get it now. You must buy it now because there will be nothing left.
Yes.
Buy it now. So they are creating an element of fear or worry or even panic.
This is prevalent. It's everywhere in all walks of life. And there's a name attack. There's an acronym, FOMO.
Okay.
FOMO.
Oh, I see. I was going to say I've been called that a few times, but that's another thing altogether.
Oh, Mr. Duncan. Yes, this is FOMO, and it stands for fear of missing out. And
yes.
it's a technique that is used in all areas of sales quite a lot. They get you to feel as though you need to buy that product because everyone else is, and if you don't get it, you might miss out, and you worry about. This happens a lot in the stock markets.
Yes.
They're always, people. It's often said that people, average people who don't know much about investing, will tend to buy as the markets are at a peak.
I'm getting the feeling that Steve's been watching videos about the stock market again.
No, I've been watching these for years. People tend to buy, so they call, so the average members of the public will tend to buy shares and assets as it's when it's at its high point, because they think they've got to buy it then, otherwise they'll miss out. It's called FOMO. Meanwhile, all the clever people have sold theirs. You buy at a high, and then it crashes down, and you miss out. But yes, FOMO is used a lot.
Yeah. This is English, by the way, we're teaching.
Yes.
Not stocks and shares.
Fear of missing out. But it's not just that. It's if you watch shopping channels, they always have the same pattern. They've got this product. We only have limited numbers of them.
Yes.
Or there's many of you on the phone now. It's that, it's missing out. It must be a good product if everyone's buying it. It must be good. I better get it. FOMO,
Yes.
fear of missing out.
Yes, that's a good one. I like that one. So persuasion.
You're not a FOMO, are you, Mr. Duncan?
I'm not a FOMO. Although you're not far off. You're not far off. So if you are easily persuaded, a person, quite often this is seen as a negative thing. If you are easily persuaded, we might describe a person as having weak character or not a strong character if you are easily persuaded. So it can happen. I was asked about a phrase, gaslight.
Yes.
Gaslighting is a form of persuasion. It is also a form of, I suppose you would call it mental manipulation, where you are trying to get a person to doubt their own sanity or the things that they know to be true. So that is a very different thing altogether, but it is a form of persuasion, and it does happen quite often in relationships, in politics as well. So maybe a politician will try to make you believe that you are being misled, or maybe the things you believe are not really true, when in fact you might be the one who is right. So gaslighting is something, it is a type of abuse, you might say.
Nitram says, have you heard of the sales technique called anchoring? And now I haven't heard of that.
I wonder if that's similar to hook. So getting someone on the hook, or getting someone in place and making sure that they are then your customer.
It's very difficult for them to say no, maybe, because you manipulate them with a series of questions, which and I've noticed this technique quite a lot in sales, where you ask a series of questions. You almost get them to answer the questions for you.
Yes.
In a way that makes it impossible for them to say no to that product. They're almost agreeing to have the product because of the way they ask the question. So maybe that's it. Maybe it's, I mean, if you anchor a ship, it means it's stable, it can't move. So maybe it's to do with, maybe you can explain that to us, Nitram, but it sounds very much like you say you've hooked them in to all the benefits of that product, and it's very difficult for them to break free of that product, and therefore they'll probably buy it.
Imagine fishing. So you are fishing, you see. You will use a hook to catch the fish. So sales is very similar. It's a little bit like you have to put some bait, something to attract the customer. And then when you have them, you can... It's a little bit like fishing. So yes, you can say you've got your customer on the hook. You've got them where you want them, and now you can reel them in because you've almost made the sale. So it's interesting that.
Sergio says he finds it quite easy to persuade himself to having a couple of vodkas. Do you have to look in the mirror and sell that to yourself?
All I can say is I don't think there is much persuasion needed, to be honest.
And thank you for the comments about the garden, Jamila. I have been working hard, not today because it's too hot. In fact, it's very quiet. Let's not tempt fate.
No,
Touch wood.
Don't say anything.
Touch wood. It's very quiet because I think all the neighbours are indoors.
Okay. Don't tempt fate, but then just carry on saying it.
Well, I was just explaining because it's too hot to be out in the garden.
Yes.
So therefore, everyone is indoors.
Mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun, and that's why we're outside, because we're both, you see. We are both mad Englishmen, and some might say mad dogs as well at the same time. Oh, by the way, Steve did something this week, didn't you? You've started going back on the road.
Yes.
Yes. So things are slowly getting back to normal. Tomorrow we have Freedom Day. That's what they're calling
Freedom
it. That's
Day.
what they're calling it. But it doesn't appear as if all of those freedoms are going to be given over easily. But I'm hoping to do a live stream tomorrow, hopefully, from the centre of Much Wenlock. I will see what happens there, because it just depends on what the rules are.
Maybe you'll go to Much Wenlock tomorrow and the people will be just ecstatic. They will be happy and there'll be parties in the street.
There will be hugging and kissing and rolling around on the floor together, just like it used to be in the centre of Much Wenlock. So hopefully I can do that tomorrow. But also, yes, Steve is back on the road, so things are getting back to normal. So you're starting to go out now to make calls in your job.
Customers,
in your job, yes.
And it was very tiring because I have been in sales for over 30 years and used to spending most of my time driving, maybe 25,000 miles a year, 30,000 kilometres, and then suddenly going back from doing nothing to driving again. It was very tiring.
But my point was everything's getting back to normal.
It is starting to, yes.
Suddenly it feels like life is starting to get back to normal here. So Steve is out and about. He's been told to start going out because, of course, many people have been working from home, but Steve is now going out.
It isn't what we thought, anchoring.
Okay.
Anchoring is about prices, and individuals' decisions are influenced by a particular reference point or anchor.
Ah,
So the anchor is like a reference point. For example, an individual may be more likely to purchase a car if it is placed along a more expensive model, the anchor.
yes.
So it's like a reference.
It's rather like putting expensive things in the window next to things that aren't so expensive. And so you are giving the impression that everything there has the same value, even though the other things are less expensive. In fact, can I just tell you something? We used to do something very similar to that in sales many years ago when I was working in sales. So yes, it is a good way of luring people in.
Right.
Because that's good. I don't think we ever called it anchoring, but it's relating one item that is expensive with another one that is not as expensive, but you are giving the impression that they are both equal.
So, for example, if the more expensive model, for example, you go to a car showroom to buy a car, and say you go to, I don't know, Mercedes, and you see the S-Class Mercedes there, but it's far too expensive.
Yeah.
The salespeople put that in a prominent position. You can't afford that, but you still want a Mercedes. So you think, well, okay, I can't afford that, but maybe I can buy the C-Class or the A-Class. And so is that what you mean, Nitram? So the expensive model is used as sort of like a halo product to sort of make the brand look really good, so that then you will buy into the brand even if it's not their top model. Am I correct?
Yes.
In that, Nitram or Nitram?
Something nice. How about something nice? The other night I was out in the garden, Steve. I was doing some filming, and I spotted something in the sky, flying overhead.
Yes.
Something lovely, something that I've never seen since moving here properly, and certainly something I've never actually been able to film. So I was very excited the other night because I was out in the garden, and look what we have flying by our house. Look at this.
Is it a bird? Is it a plane?
There it is. Oh, Mr. Steve, it's a heron.
Look at that.
So there is a heron that now flies by the house every evening. And the other night I was outside doing some filming, so I was able to actually film the heron flying by. And I suppose from this particular shot, it's not easy to appreciate just how big that bird is, but it is huge. Its wingspan is probably maybe 4, 5, maybe 5 feet. So it's a huge bird. So a heron flying over, and as we all know, if you know about this bird, you will know that this particular bird likes eating fish. So I think around here there are lots of people who have fish ponds. They keep fish in their garden. And I think this particular bird flies around trying to find some fish.
It's huge, Mr. Duncan.
It's a big bird, that.
It looks like something from prehistoric times. It looks like a pterodactyl.
It is not a stork. It's not a stork, it is a heron, although the shape is very similar. It's actually very similar to a stork, but the colour is very different. So, but now it's every night. And yesterday evening, I saw 2 go past. So I was outside and I looked up, and there were 2 herons flying by, and they were calling to each other. One of the things I found out is that the sound of a heron is not very nice. It's sort of
Vitas says that this heron will come and take our fake heron,
yes.
and maybe try to make relations with our plastic heron.
Yes. Well, last week, can you believe last week Steve broke the head off the heron? So our poor heron lost its head, the plastic one.
I know.
Not the real one.
Well,
So Steve has got some sticky tape. He's put some sticky tape and he's stuck the head back on the heron.
I was doing some gardening and I needed to move the heron.
Yes.
It's been out, exposed to the elements. When we say the elements, we mean the sun, the rain, the weather. And I think the sun has weakened the plastic. And maybe frost as well. And I just moved it and it just fell over onto the grass and the head just snapped off at the neck. But it was so brittle, the plastic. I think it's, as I say, it's been exposed to the ultraviolet rays of the sun.
I can't believe it.
The frost.
You decapitated our lovely plastic heron.
So I might need to buy a new one. But for now, in fact, it happened just before the live stream last week. I was going to tell you live on air.
Okay.
But I thought, no, I'll fix it and then pretend it didn't happen.
I notice everything. If there's one thing you have to learn about me is I never miss anything. My eyes, they're always looking, always watching.
Yes.
Even you, Mr. Steve, I'm always watching what you are doing.
I can't get away with anything. Mr. Duncan seems to have like a sixth sense.
You know that little boy in the film with Bruce Willis? I see dead people. And sometimes I see Mr. Steve doing things that he thinks I haven't seen.
Your mind sort of gets clues, small little changes,
Yes.
and it sort of joins the dots.
I'm like Columbo. I'm a real life Columbo. I would make a brilliant detective. I really would, because I'm very good at piecing things together, little things that I notice that are different, and I'm able to piece all of those things together. So I would be a brilliant detective. I think so.
All right, the middle price is the desirable price, and the rest to anchor you so that you tell yourself, I won't buy the cheap one or the expensive one. Oh, I see. So you write, that's it. So you go for the one that's in the middle of the, say that you might put the C class then, might be the anchor.
Okay.
And you could, so you could go up or down. I see. Right. Or if it was a BMW, I don't wish to say that I'm, making preference to one brand or another. It could be the 3 series of the Anchor, and you could go for the 5 or the 7, or you could go below that.
Fascinating.
Yes, exactly. Well, people that know about cars will know what I'm talking about.
And
Mr.
people
Duncan.
that don't know about cars have tuned away.
Yes, well, Ford. You maybe the Anchor could be the Mondeo. The Mondeo, that's been around for years. They're scrapping the Mondeo in the UK. It will be no more. They are getting rid of it.
Okay. Bye, viewers. That's a few more gone. I can actually see the figures going down. Every time Steve mentions cars, the viewers actually drop slightly. And then when I come back on and start talking, they go up again. No, not really. We had something sad this week.
Yes.
Something sad.
Well, Adele said that she likes watching this. I know what you're going to say, Mr. Duncan.
Something sad.
Something's gone.
We had to say goodbye to the sheep. The sheep have gone. Sadly, the farmer came on Friday and he took the sheep away. But just before he came, guess what? In the garden, yes, there was one of the lambs. So this particular lamb had developed a habit of coming into the garden. Mr. Steve is yawning. That's never good. Yes, am I sending you to sleep, Steve? So this little lamb came into the garden, look. But now they've all gone.
Within hours he was gone. He's now probably dead.
They've all gone back.
By the way, that strange noise is farm equipment you can hear in the distance.
Yes. I don't think people can hear it. I think it will be all right. Anyway, back to the lambs. The sheep have gone, the lambs have gone, and now it's quite sad, really, isn't it?
It is sad because, that's the last view we've had of this lamb. He's probably dead, as we've said.
No, he's not dead.
I think he is.
They're not dead. Don't say that, please.
He's already been chopped up and put into plastic bags for people to eat.
Yes. Well, we were eating lamb last night.
I know.
That's
Such hypocrites.
That's the crazy part of it. Well, we're not hypocrites. How can we be hypocrites? We're not telling people not to eat meat. See, if we told people not to eat meat, Steve, and then we ate meat, I think that would make us hypocrites. But I like animals. But the only problem with some animals is they taste delicious. And I can't.
know.
What?
Hip says, "Hello, Mr. Dunn. What does not even closed mean?"
Not even close.
I think you might mean not even close.
Something that is not even close means something that bears no relation to that thing. It's not even close. It's not even near. It's very far off. So one thing is nothing like another thing. It's nothing like it. So it's not that close. It's nothing like it. It's nowhere near as close.
Yeah, so for example, if I try to draw a lamb,
Oh,
there we
okay.
go. Right,
Hi.
there we go.
Hi everybody. Hello. Mr. Steve is drawing.
There we go.
Wait. Hilarity will follow.
There we go. That's my drawing of a lamb.
Okay. There is Mr. Steve's drawing of a lamb.
So you could then say to me, Mr. Duncan, I would say...
That looks like a worm with legs.
yeah, so you might say to me, draw a lamb, Mr. Duncan. And then you would say, well, what would you say?
What do you mean? What would I say?
It's not even close.
It's that
Is what?
Yes. that looks nothing like a lamb.
It's not even close.
That looks like a worm that has legs.
Yes, but I was trying to get across the meaning of when to use the phrase
What?
rather than...
That is rubbish.
That's what I wanted to concentrate on, Mr. Duncan, not on my attempt at drawing a lamb, because which I deliberately...
Oh, okay. I'm trying to get some words out. I don't know why sometimes Steve doesn't realise I'm just leading up to a bit of teaching, you see. That wasn't what I really thought. Oh, dear. One day we will get it right. But I would say, oh, that drawing is awful. See, this is what I was doing, Steve. That's terrible, that. It's supposed to be a lamb. It's not even close. It's not even close. It looks nothing like a lamb. It looks like a worm that has grown little legs. Imagine that. Imagine if worms had legs. Ooh.
Yes, Nitram is talking a lot about... he's fascinated by the selling technique and persuading. And of course, the thing is, there are people that will say that most people want to be persuaded.
Yes.
Most people want to buy something. They want to be, deep down, they want somebody to persuade them to do something because it's just easier than trying to make a decision yourself. So,
Yes.
because people like to buy things as well. We all like to buy things. So if somebody persuades us to buy something, then that decision-making process has been taken away from us in a way. And, you might regret later on. But, yes, that's the thing. But the thing with salespeople is, Mr. Duncan, in this country, if you are in sales, it's not looked upon as a job of high prestige.
Okay.
It is looked upon as quite a lowly job.
What's this got to do with persuasion?
Nothing, but I'm just saying because the art of persuading is quite a skill.
Yes.
So sales persuasion, it's quite a skill that takes a long time to learn.
Donald Trump wrote all about it.
Right, and many people have written lots of books about sales and sales techniques. But in this country, if you are in sales, people will go, oh, it's seen as almost unethical.
I think he means his mum.
No, but if you're in America, for example, then sales, if you're in sales, it's seen as quite a prestigious job. Because, I don't know why, but in this country, it's not seen as if you're a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, a nurse, they're seen as really, good jobs. But if you say you're in sales, certainly probably not so much now, but it used to be always looked down upon. Oh, sales. Oh, sales rep. Oh dear. You know, as though there was something dodgy about it.
Yes, that's it. Again, it's Steve's mum.
Well, no, it's not, because my dad was in sales. But it is, yeah. But in America, it's thought of as well, wow, a salesperson. You're looked up to.
Yes.
Looked up to. People admire you, but not in the UK.
But
So-
don't you think also that the way of being proud of being in sales is working for a very well-known company or being very high up in the company as well? So that also has a little bit of prestige. I like that word.
prestige. So, what about your countries? What about in Italy, in Russia, in Brazil, Iraq? We've got somebody watching today from Iraq. Mohammed in Iraq. Hello. What about sales there? How is it looked upon? So this art of persuasion, which is sales, what is that profession? What status does it have in your country? I'd be very interested.
Yes. Is it looked down upon?
Or are you seen as somebody with lots of skills and people that, oh, you're in sales, oh, well done, oh.
While we're talking about that, another job is teaching, of course. In this country, teaching is seen as quite an unglamorous job. It's interesting. Yet, when I was working in China, you were up there with everyone. You were up there with the doctors and the nurses and the surgeons and the teachers. Everyone is up there equally. But here, if you are a teacher, you tend to be looked down on, unfortunately.
Yes, I would say that teaching isn't seen as. I think it's seen as a. I think you get respect. It's not as bad as being in sales in the UK.
Okay.
Although I don't think that's
when a poor teacher has to deal with all of the students' parents shouting through the windows, telling the teacher what they can and can't teach their children. Yes, I would not want to be a teacher in this country. A lot of people ask, Mr. Duncan, would you like to go into teaching in the UK? And I would say no, because it's a job that many people try to get out of.
I used to know when I grew up, lots of my friends went into teaching. They've all left, every one of them. I probably knew about 3-4 teachers. This is probably more so secondary school, 11 upwards, 11 to 18s. They've all left because it's become a very, very stressful job.
Yes, it is. And a lot of the stress comes from the parents who are constantly telling the teachers how to do their job. So, yeah.
Yes, teachers, parents used to be on the side of the teachers many years ago, but now they tend to be on the side of the children and berate the teachers.
Yes.
But I don't know very much about that, but all I know is all my friends have left because they hated it. When they first started doing it 30 years ago, they loved doing it, and then regulations and behaviour of children, all sorts of things have made the job, lots of paperwork and bureaucracy have made the job very unattractive.
But
So they've all left.
the parents are the worst part. That's what any teacher working in this country, they always say, the children aren't too bad, it's the parents, they're the problem. So words to do with persuading,
Right.
and also I suppose I've got the word convince as well. So we often think of these two words when we talk about changing someone's idea or maybe changing someone's opinion. You persuade or you try to convince them. So these words are often used side by side or in the same context. To persuade is to insist on something. You are insisting on something happening, quite often because you want it to happen. So I want to do something, Mr. Steve does not want to do it, so I have to insist that Mr. Steve comes with me. But to do that, I will need to persuade Steve. So I can't tell him. I can't say, Steve, you must come to the party with me. You have to use persuasion. Persuade. Oh, come on, Steve, you'll have a good time. You never know, there might be some I nearly said something then, but I'm not going to say that. Forget what I just said then. and forget what was in my brain as well. I will just get rid of that. That's gone. But you know what I mean. To try and get you to come to the party. I want you to come as well, Steve. Please come with me.
I don't like parties.
Yeah, you see, so that's it. So to persuade someone quite often is to insist on something. You are saying that you have to do that.
Sorry, Mr. Duncan, if we go to India, Maruri says that you would be looked upon as a teacher in India.
Yes. So it's a high status job.
Whereas sales isn't in India.
Oh, I see.
As the same as it is here. So you could go, but I'd have to stay.
That's it.
I wouldn't be any better off if we went to India. Your status would go up here,
yes,
and mine would stay probably around the same.
As it should be. As it should
But
be.
then maybe I could become an English teacher with you.
My status should always be high wherever I go.
Up here, everyone else down here.
To encourage a person to do something, you might encourage them. So this is a more kinder way of persuading. You encourage them. So you might say things to get them to go to the party or to do that thing. So I might flatter Mr. Steve. I might say, "Oh, Steve, but you must come to the party because you're always good when you go to parties, and everyone loves your company.
Really?
They love your company at the party. So you must come. You'll have a good time." So I'm encouraging Steve.
But what if Mr. Duncan and I went there and nobody did talk to me? Are you sure that they would?
Well, that's probably what will happen, actually.
Well, that's not very good persuading, Mr. Duncan.
To persuade a person to change their opinion, and I think these days, this is very suitable for what's happening at the moment. A lot of people are putting forward their opinion about things, and they are trying to persuade other people to change their point of view or their opinion as well. So yes, I think that's true.
Nitram says education and teaching is the greatest thing in the world. Countries who get it win, countries that don't lose. Now, this is what you can see has been happening in China. I read a report about this some time ago.
Okay.
In China, teaching and education is absolutely the central core
Yes.
of everything.
Yes.
And as a result of that, but in the West, particularly in America and here, teachers now, their reputation is bad, and people don't really look up to education certainly as much as they used to. And it's a sort of a cultural change that's gone on, and I think that we're going to fall behind places like China because we won't have as many people who are knowledgeable, who are good at computers and all sorts of things like that.
Yeah. But there are more as well. It does help when your country has 1.3 billion people, and we only have about 50 million. So it's very, very different.
If you don't invest in your young, then you won't have a future.
That is true. I agree with that. So to persuade a person to change their opinion, you persuade them. You make some sort of point that hopefully will change their mind.
That's something that politicians are always trying to do.
Yes.
Trying to persuade us to vote for them.
Yes, or to think something different from what we already believe.
Yeah.
So quite often this I suppose tomorrow is a good example because tomorrow is supposed to be Freedom Day here in England, where lots of the lockdown restrictions will disappear. So people will be able to take their masks off. However, it looks as if some places, some businesses will still insist that you wear a mask. So we will find out tomorrow. Hopefully I will be able to go into town tomorrow, into Much Wenlock, and hopefully I can do a live stream whilst everyone is finding their freedom.
Oh, so you're doing a live stream tomorrow. We must advertise, Mr. Duncan.
Yes. I'm not sure if it's actually happening, so we will see what happens.
Oh,
I will judge the situation.
Lewis makes an interesting statement. Hi, Lewis. I don't talk anybody out of doing anything. That's very interesting. So, yes, because if you were to talk somebody out of doing something, then maybe they would have liked it. So it's sometimes better not to try and persuade somebody not to do something, because it's probably better for them to try it. I mean, you can persuade somebody to do something. You know, I think you should take up a hobby of some, you know, you might persuade somebody to, but to persuade somebody not to do something. I mean, obviously, it might be worth trying to persuade somebody maybe not to commit suicide. That might be a worthwhile thing.
Yeah, that's
So are you saying, Lewis, that
not the opposite.
are you saying, Lewis, that you wouldn't try and dissuade somebody from committing suicide? I think you'd probably. That's an extreme example. I think I know what Lewis means, though, because you don't know if that thing might be right for that person. You know, you might, for example, I might say to you, Mr. Duncan. No, you might say, "Oh, I want to take up football as a hobby, or long distance running."
And I would say, okay, if you want to. No
No,
problem.
you might say to me, "I want to do." No, well, you might say, "Well, no." For example, you might say, "I want to learn to drive a car," because you don't drive.
I don't drive.
And I might think, "Oh dear, I don't think that's a good idea at your age." I might be thinking in my head, "I don't think I should. I think I'll persuade Mr. Duncan not to do that."
I might actually do it now, just from that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But you see, I might be wrong
Your-
about my assessment of you. That you actually would be a very good driver.
Your insult.
And it would be a good thing for you to do. So sometimes it's, you know, useful to persuade somebody not to do something. Let them maybe make their own mistakes, as long as it's not something that is going to injure them in some way. I mean,
Well,
I
of
think
course-
if you were to say to me,
Yes,
I'm going to take up rock climbing.
I think you should try heroin. You should try a bit of cocaine. Try a bit of heroin. Have a go. See, you might like it.
Oh,
So no, you wouldn't do that. You see.
I'm coming to see Lewis because I'm going to say to Lewis, "Oh, yeah, that's it. I think I'll try heroin tonight."
Yes.
And Lewis isn't going to try and persuade me not to.
No, you see. Well, have a go.
I think actually
Try it. You might enjoy it.
those extreme cases, I don't think it applies to that.
No, I think it's
We're just being funny here.
it's things that that most likely won't end up killing you.
Yes. I think I hopefully that you would intervene and try and persuade somebody
Yeah.
not to do, like rock climbing. There we go.
Although you don't normally announce it, do you?
If I said, Mr.
You know what I
Duncan,
was thinking of doing? I was thinking of trying hard drugs. I might just give it a try. You don't normally do that, do you?
Well,
You
let's
don't-
try something in the middle. Rock climbing, for
Yes,
example.
rock
If I
climbing.
said to you,
Okay.
I want to take up rock climbing, Mr. Duncan.
Yeah, do it. Go ahead. Do
would-
it.
Oh. So you're not going to try and persuade me not to?
Yeah, do it. I've got some nice rope down the bottom of the garden. It's been there for 5 years. It's nice and damp and maybe rotten.
Are you using negative psychology there,
So,
Mr.
yeah.
Duncan, to try and make me think that, oh, he wants me to take up rock climbing? Maybe it's because he wants me to fall off, therefore I won't do it.
That's
so
it.
it's negative psychology you're using there, Mr. Duncan.
Maybe
Very
Mis-
clever.
Maybe Mr. Duncan is trying to off me. So a persuasive person is able to persuade.
Well, yeah.
Let me just carry on, Steve.
Go on.
We are teaching English. To persuade is to convince. Sway. I like that one. So you're trying to sway someone. Imagine a tree blowing in the breeze, swaying. So you are trying to move that person's opinion from there to there. You want to sway them. You want to change their opinion. And of course, another word that is often used nowadays to describe people on the internet, you want to influence someone. And we often talk about people who influence on the internet, but not me. Sadly, I am not an influencer. I might be influencing people not to watch my live streams, but nothing else. So to persuade can be described as convincing someone. You want to sway them, or you try to influence them.
Sergio, I should think Sergio's swaying at the moment due to the influence of alcohol.
Yes.
If you sway about, when you're drunk, people sway about, don't they? I've got,
Or, st-
can't have another drink.
or stagger.
Stagger about, yes. But I think Sergio can take his drink very well. I think a bottle of vodka would be nothing to Sergio. You wouldn't even know.
Here is an interesting idiom. We can say, if you want to persuade someone, Steve, twist a person's arm.
Ah, yes.
You are trying to twist their arm, but not really. It is just said in a figurative way. So it's a figurative way of using that particular action. To twist a person's arm is to try to change their mind or persuade them.
By using force and pain.
Yes.
You know, if you say, I'm going to twist your arm, I mean, you know,
Yes.
yes, it means almost like you're making it painful for them not, because if you were to twist somebody's arm, it would be painful.
Yes, you're putting them in a position where they can't say no.
Yes,
Mm.
exactly.
You twist their
because they
arm.
can't say no because it's too painful.
It twists their arm.
But you can say that, oh, you trying to twist my arm.
Mm.
Doesn't have to be serious. It can be very light.
Yes,
Oh,
to persuade someone in a very sometimes aggressive way. An attempt to sway someone from their beliefs. Oh, yes, you see. So quite often a person will try to persuade you to change your whole life or the way you see the world. Religion, I suppose, is a good example. So maybe a person will try to encourage you to believe in a certain religion. And then, of course, you have another person who might try to persuade a religious person not to be religious. So persuasion is quite often a two-way thing. You can find that there are people that are persuading you to do something or to think something, and then there are people that are persuading you not to do something and not to think something. So it depends, really.
Convince.
Hmm.
Yes. If you're convincing someone, it means you're using data or evidence that will absolutely irrefutably say that you are right about something. So if you're trying to convince somebody to buy a car, I don't know whether you could convince somebody to buy a car. You would persuade them.
Well,
so when would you use convince? Convince me. You would say, well, convince me. Give me data. Give me information.
Well, this is all about a person's
back
belief.
Up your
yes, but to convince someone is to ask them to prove or give strong evidence that what they think is the right thing. You are hearing a lot of people at the moment talking about certain issues with gender. So some people believe that there are many genders, whilst others believe there aren't. So you might find yourself in a position where you have to prove, you have to convince the other person with your evidence that that thing is true. There is a guy called, what's his name? I can't remember his name now, but there is a channel called Louder with Crowder. And there's a guy on there who goes around asking people questions, quite often very hot topics. And he will ask them to prove that the thing that he is against or the thing he disagrees with is actually right. So, yeah, quite interesting. And that is it from that. I hope I have persuaded you in a nice way to improve your English.
And to stay for the next 20 minutes.
For the next 20 minutes, we have something lovely. We have something gorgeous and delicious, ever so nice. We have, coming up, the sentence game. Thank you very much for all of your lovely company today. A lot of lovely people have been on here today. We've had birthdays, we've had celebrations, we've had fireworks, we've had everything. We've had our little lamb walking around the garden, but sadly he has left. Our little lamb has gone somewhere else, quite likely to be chopped up into little pieces. Oh dear. Shall we play the sentence game?
Shall we?
We are playing the sentence game right now, and all of the words are connected to being persuasive, to persuade people. Words connected to that subject. We are live on YouTube. It's Mr. Duncan and Mr. Steve. On a Sunday afternoon, we are out in the garden. It's the hottest day of the year. 31 degrees, apparently. It is. I think it's about 40 under my gazebo.
Oh, Lewis is telling us of his preferences for alcohol.
Oh.
Red wine, when it's good. It must be always good in France. After red wine comes whiskey, cognac, and when the weather is hot, a good beer. Oh, I like the sound of that.
It's strange, actually. Beer. If it's a hot day like today, quite often if you have a cold beer, it can be very refreshing.
I know.
But I think that's the only alcohol that you can drink that actually refreshes you if it's hot. I mean, you don't hear people drinking whiskey when it's hot.
No.
Oh, I need some whiskey. It's so hot today. I'm going to have some whiskey. And quite often the whiskey will make you feel hotter. It normally makes your temperature rise. You feel as if you are actually getting hotter. But what I'm thinking of now, Steve, is a cold glass of beer. Oh, imagine that.
Oh, yes, well, we've only got one bottle left.
Yes.
In the house.
We can share it.
I think I'll put it in the fridge.
Yes.
Mind you,
Ooh.
I've had beer 2 nights in a row.
So?
Mind you, when I say I've had beer,
Yeah.
half a glass,
This much.
half a pint a night.
Yes.
It's not really very much, is it?
It's nothing.
Sergio would be ashamed to know me.
Anyway, we are doing the sentence game, Steve.
Right.
Let's play the sentence game. And today...
Is it Tomek today or Maura today?
Today,
Are you here?
we have the sentence game, Persuade Words. So all of the sentence game today are connected to people maybe trying to persuade you, maybe trying to get you to change your mind.
Well, Marwa Mohammed is trying to persuade me not to write with a red pen.
Oh, why not?
I don't know why.
Is it bad luck?
Convince me. Convince me.
Only teachers are allowed to write with red pens. Now, I remember at school, people used to get into trouble because sometimes they would write in their exercise books and they would write with red pen, and the teacher would get very angry. They would say, hey, only I am allowed to use a red pen. You have to use the blue pen or the black pen. The red pen is for the teacher. Here we go then. Today's sentence game. Here's
Has anybody seen Maura or Tomek? I don't think they're here today, but we missed them. Please come back.
Here we go. Today's sentence game. Oh, here's the first one, Steve.
If he will not something, then we might have to something. So straight in with 4 words, Mr. Duncan.
Yes, this might be hard, but I've already given you the answer today. So I'm checking now to see how well you were listening to me.
Right.
So this is like an exam. Imagine this is your final exam before you go on your holidays. If he will not something, then we might have to something. 5 letters, 5 letters, 3 letters, 3 letters.
Sergio says that Tomek sends kisses and hugs.
Does he?
How has he done that? Has he told you?
Well, I've often thought, Steve, that Tomek and Sergio are the same person.
Never.
I don't know. I'm not saying it is, but I think maybe.
Well, maybe they know each other.
And this happens sometimes. I know in the past there used to be people that would come on and use different names, but they were always always the same. It's true. I think
Sergio and Tomek are separate people. Mind you,
I want to see Tomek and Sergio on the live stream together.
They often are.
What? At the same time?
Yes.
So not just coming on later, because you can log out and log back in.
No, there are distinctly different characters
Okay.
between Sergio and Tomek.
He might just be very good at covering it. He might
Mind
be.
you, Tomek, of course, is in the Netherlands, isn't he? So, and we know how awful the weather's been in Central Europe, and I think Germany, Belgium, and certainly the Netherlands, I think, have all been affected. So that could be one of the reasons why Tomek's not here today. Hopefully not, but we hope he's all right.
We have some answers coming through, Steve.
Right, yes. Right. Mohammed says, in Iraq, only the governor has a red pen. Oh, I understand.
Yes.
So a bit like here, only teachers should use a red pen.
Yes.
I don't know why. I use this pen only because it's just become a habit. But yes, sorry about that. So maybe think of me as your governor. Have we got answers? Yes, let's have a look.
That might not be a good thing, by the way. What if the governor is a person who people don't like? Yes, you see, we have some correct answers. Can we get the answers, Steve? Because that's kind of your job.
Nitram says if he will not agree, then we might have to twist his arm.
But is it?
Nitram. Is it Nitram or Nitram? Please tell us.
Yes.
If I say Nitram,
Can we have some
and
names?
that's right. Give me a thumbs up.
Can we
Yes, Nitram says agree, twist his arm. So that was the first. Nitram was the first person.
And also Vittoria. Thank you, Vittoria, for your answer as well. Nisar, Leah Litti.
Except is 6 letters, unfortunately. That would work, but it's 6 letters. Vitas.
So we've got lots of correct answers. Let's have the solution because we've got to move on. We've only got 14 minutes. Today's live stream has gone by so quickly I can't quite believe it. Okay, what do we have this week? Do we have Matt Hancock or do we have our normal cockerel? Let's see. It's the normal cockerel. The normal one.
Nisar says yes, only teachers can use red pens in India.
It's the law.
Mapak Monop, I think, has also got it right. Lots of people have got this one right. I think we know this one, Mr. Duncan. Answer, please.
The answer's coming up now. Bing!
Well done.
If he will not agree, then we might have to twist his arm. Yes, to twist a person's arm, as we said a few moments ago, to persuade someone, maybe you have to use a little bit of extra persuasion.
Yes. You might have to twist his arm. You might bribe them, maybe, in some way.
That's it. Do something to change their mind. Yes. Here we go. Here's another one.
They were most something. That I something with their something. 4 words
and
again.
You can see the first missing word begins with I. So I've made it clearer this week. That is definitely an I.
There's a dot over there.
There we go. They were most something that I something with their something. Oh. And again the clue is persuasion. Persuasion. Nessar says, hip hip hurrah, my answer is correct. It is.
It is correct. Although technically Nitram was first.
Yes.
But then, yes. If you're not looking at the live chat, then you might be getting it on your own anyway, if you're writing your answers.
The sound behind us, by the way, is the farmer. So there is a farmer at the moment gathering grass. So last week they were cutting the grass, and today they are gathering the grass. So they are using a machine to gather the grass. And then later on in the year, when the winter comes, they will use the grass to feed the livestock. So that's what the sound is behind me. It is a tractor and some machinery.
Vittoria, you may well have got the first word there. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not.
So maybe we are talking about someone that is trying to encourage you to do something. Maybe they do it quite a lot. They are being very persuasive.
Mapak Monop. Ooh, I think that could be the correct answer, or certainly very close.
Yes, very good.
Yes.
Yes, Jimmy. Jimmy from Hong Kong. Very good.
But Mapak has got it first.
Yes. Well done, Mapak. And also Jimmy in Hong Kong. And Vittoria as well.
Yes, Olga, if you twist somebody's arm, you're using additional techniques or additional persuasive powers to try and persuade somebody to do something. And that are just with almost causing pain or making it impossible for somebody to say no.
Yes, it is not a physical thing, it's just said. So no harm will come, hopefully.
No, it's just an expression. If you turn down a job offer, you might have turned down a job offer because you didn't think the money was high enough, and the people trying to persuade you to have the job might have a chat and say, "Oh, how can we twist his or her arm to take this job?" Well, they might. Well, why don't we offer them more money? Yes, we'll twist their arm by offering more money, and they might say yes. Right.
Here's the answer. We'll try and get 2 more in.
Said the actress to the bishop.
I love my cockerel sound outside because the neighbours will start thinking that we have chickens.
Jamila, if you can just get one of the words, then feel free. You don't have to get the whole sentence. If you just can get one of the words, then just put that up as a suggestion. I'm not very good at it. What do I do? Just keep watching.
Yes.
Just keep learning English. Increase your vocabulary, and you will soon find that you will be getting these answers.
By the way, Nitram,
Yes.
his real name is Martin. So Nitram is just the reverse.
Oh, yes.
The reverse of Martin. Oh, very nice. Fancy pants. Very nice.
So, right, okay, I like that. That's very good.
So here's the answer to this sentence game. Bing bong, bing 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 bing. They were most insistent that I go along with their plan. So to be insistent means that you will not take no for an answer. You insist, you are forcing your opinion. You are saying, no, please, you must. You are being insistent.
You don't give up.
You don't give up.
You carry on trying to persuade.
And if you go along with something, to go along with their plan means you agree to it. You agree to follow it. Or you agree to go along with their plan.
Whatever that might be.
So there it was. And I think we will have, maybe we might be able to have 2 more. We might have 2 more. Ooh, very nice. Yes, I know what you're going to say, Steve.
I think the Thunderbugs.
The Thunderbugs are back, baby.
Fancy Pants, Nisar, the first one. People are saying congratulations to Jimmy, but in fact it was, well, congratulations to Jimmy, but technically the first person to get it right was Mapak, I believe.
Let's have another one, Steve.
Monop.
Before we go.
After an hour of something, I had to something.
So again, we're talking about the word and the topic that we've been talking about for quite a lot
Yes,
of today.
teamwork. That is correct. We've often said this, Jimmy, on the live chat when we're talking about the sentence game.
Yes. I suppose one thing to mention about persuasion is, I suppose sometimes you have to be careful what you are being persuaded to do. So, like we said earlier, we did joke earlier about maybe deciding to do something that is either dangerous or illegal. But sometimes you can be persuaded to do something that is dangerous or illegal. Yes, and we call that peer pressure.
Yes.
Peer pressure. It's a great word, especially if you are young, maybe in your teenage years. You often find that you are easily persuaded to do something by the other people around you, your equals. And we often call that peer pressure. So peer means the people around you. You are getting pressure from other people around you.
Yes, quite often people would do bad or illegal things if they're in a group or a gang because they want to be included in that group, in that gang. They might all do one person in that group might not want to do something, but he feels compelled to do it to still feel part of the group. So his peers, his equals, will put pressure on him to do the same as everybody else, even though he might not want to do it. That's a very powerful force.
Yes.
Peer
We often
pressure.
hear about peer pressure with things like smoking. So
Yes.
when you're a teenager, you might find that other people encourage you to start smoking or drinking or maybe committing crime even.
Yes. If you want to be part of our gang, then you've got to do this thing.
Were you ever in a gang?
No,
No,
I was never in a gang.
Me neither.
Pedro's here.
Pedro Belmont.
Too late for the sentence game, but not the sentence game, the flags of the world.
Well,
but
we didn't have them.
still here. I know we
You-
didn't have them today.
I was worried then, Steve. I wasn't sure if you thought we'd had them, but we didn't. We didn't have flags of the world today because we're outside and it's too hot. It's too hot to wave your flags, you see. It's too hot.
I don't think anyone's.
This is a hard one.
Yes, the first word I think is.
Yes. Yes. Think of an animal. So the second word relates to an animal. Oh, really, Mr. Duncan? That does not make it any
I
easier.
don't think it can be convince, even though that's 8 words, because I don't think that grammatically that would work.
What if something never stops? Something that does not stop. Something that goes on and on.
Maora. Yes, I think you've hit on it.
So the second missing word is connected to animals, a certain type of animal that only comes out at night. You sometimes see it.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong there.
In
Is
the
that,
night.
Is that one of the words there?
Yes.
Ah, right.
Yes.
Hmm.
Maora. Are we doing that again? Maora, Maora, Maora.
Yes, so you
Vitas,
could well have got the first word there, Maura.
Vitas has one of the words correct. One of them correct.
Ah, right.
Maora now has 2 of them correct. 2 correct words.
Right.
Yes.
Ah,
So the last missing word means to give in, or to just say, okay, I will go along with you. Nitram, you are near, but that is not the right word, unfortunately. This is our last sentence game for today. And then we are going. Jimmy, you've got 2 of the words correct. but there is still the last one. Yes, we might have to give the answer to this one, Steve.
Ah.
We might have to give the answer.
Well, what about that then?
No,
Oh,
it
right.
is not.
It's not that either.
No, it is to give in. You give in, you... Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, that could be right. That could be right. Jagdish, that could be right. And also Maura suggested that as the last word as well.
But it's actually the opposite. In this particular sentence, it's the opposite.
Right.
The word means the opposite thing.
And we've got return as another suggestion. All right, Tzatziki, yes, another good suggestion. Yeah, well, they all work. All these suggestions for the last word actually work in the sentence. So well done.
As we approach 4 o'clock, I will now give you the answer.
So we haven't had a complete sentence according to what you wanted,
No, we don't have the last word, unfortunately.
but some of
get-
these do fit, I think. But let's see.
Okay, the missing words, the real missing word that I was looking for. If I can find it, is ding. You see,
Right.
relent. Relent. I had to relent. After an hour of constant badgering, I had to relent.
So if you badger somebody,
You keep bothering them.
So
You are asking them the same question. You keep disturbing them. Maybe you are asking the same thing again and again.
trying to persuade them, badgering. This is what children do to their parents. Constantly badgering their parents to buy them some sweets or a toy or do something.
Yeah.
So badgering is you keep constantly asking the same thing or asking the same thing in a different way. Stop badgering me. You often say to somebody who's constantly asking you the same question
Yes.
and you don't want to give an answer. I had to relent. That means to
So to succumb or give in.
give in.
Yes. Okay. Okay. No problem.
So a child is trying to persuade you to buy them a new toy. So after an hour of constant badgering, this child, oh, can I have the toy? Please buy me the toy. Oh, I want the toy. They don't give up, do they, children? The parent had to relent, had to give in.
Yes. And there is an interesting word also, relentless, which is the opposite. So if you are relentless, that means you don't stop. You don't give in. It's the
Yes.
opposite. So to relent is to give in. To be relentless is to not stop and not give in. It's the opposite.
But in terms of the suggestions that people gave, you could put return in there if you knew that the sentence was about somebody trying to persuade you to go back somewhere. Then return would work.
Yes. So
That definitely would. So if the constant badgering was, I don't know, your girlfriend trying to persuade you to go back with her, then you might return to that relationship,
yes.
or you might return back home again. Resign. Badgering. I had to. Well, no, because if you were going to resign, that doesn't really fit. But retire, somebody might be trying to persuade you to retire. But yeah.
That's it,
But
Steve.
thank you for all the different suggestions.
That's it, Steve. We have no more
Alright.
time. That's it. It's over. We can go back in the house now and cool our sweaty parts.
Yes, oh, the relent means to give up. You relent. Sort of, yeah, very similar.
My shorts are now full of dead flies.
Given in or given up. Yes, we are having a tea cake. Now we've asked not to have them.
I thought you cancelled them.
I have, but they came last week, so I froze 2 of them and I've defrosted them yesterday. You didn't know that. I'm telling you now. A little surprise.
Fascinating.
We are there. I know. Our lives are so exciting.
Is that the biggest
Here in
surprise?
Wenlock.
Is that the biggest surprise you have for me today?
And there are insects now sort of crawling over me.
Yes, I can see them.
I think it's the old thunderbugs,
Thunderbugs.
or the thrips, as we can also call them.
Yes.
Lovely to be here, Mr. Duncan.
I don't think Steve wants to go.
I do actually.
Oh, that's even worse.
I'm just getting a bit hot.
Yeah.
It's like being in a hot tent.
Yes, it's your age, you see. Your age. Steve gets very hot and he passes out, you see, very easily.
I do, yes. Well, as you get older, you can't regulate your temperature as easily, apparently. Right, lovely to be here. Lovely to see you all. Thanks once again for all your live chat, all your lovely comments, and your interesting and fascinating questions. And I look forward to seeing you all again next week.
That sounds good to me. That sounds brilliant.
Bye-bye for now.
Thank you, Mr. Steve. He's going now. Take one last look at Mr. Steve. You will see him again next Sunday. Mr. Steve has left. He's gone back into the house now. Steve has gone into the house. He's going to make a cup of tea. A cup of tea from Mr. Steve. Thank you very much for your company for the past 2 hours. 2 hours? Have I really been here for 2 hours? Thank you very much for your company. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. And of course, I will be back with you next Sunday at the same time as we prepare to say goodbye to July next Sunday. And August will soon be arriving. Oh my goodness. We know what that means. That means my birthday is also on its way. Oh dear. I don't like that at all. I do not like that one bit. Don't forget to look out for my... Oh, I see. Yes, there is a magpie. In fact, there is a family of magpies. There is an adult and there are 3 baby magpies. And they come into the garden quite often and make quite a lot of noise. Yes, I will be with you on Wednesday, but not live. There will be a new English lesson posted on my YouTube channel on Wednesday. And of course, we will be back together next Sunday as well. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. I hope it's been interesting. And I hope that it has made you happy. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of the English language, saying thanks for watching. See you next week, 2 p.m. UK time. And of course, until the next time we meet here, you know what's coming next. Yes, you do. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy yourselves. I might be with you tomorrow, live, from Much Wenlock. But at the moment, it is not official. So keep a lookout tomorrow. I might be with you tomorrow for a while in the town centre of Much Wenlock. We will see what happens. And of course, you know what's coming next. Yes, you do. Ta-ta for now.